Hello survivors and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be looking at the new 6-star Shiva, who is an albino Shiva I guess. And she is a character that has been released onto the roadmap, and we're going to be doing some tests on the roadmap, mainly just tests. We're not going to be going through the roadmap, I just want to show you how she works. But as you can see, we'll look at her rush first. 76 AP, deal 2 attacks of 300% damage, 600% total to one enemy. Deal 500 bleed damage for 2 turns to up to 2 enemies. So the first half of this rush is deal 2 attacks for 300% damage, 600% total damage, and that basically works exactly the same way as 6-star Dwight, who was from the event last year, where you will do 2 separate basic attacks effectively for 300% damage, and that means you can be stunned if you're attacking someone with stun on defense. You can be impaired if you're doing impair on defense. With either of those 2 attacks. So like you could effectively be stunned on that first attack and it stops the second one. If you've got Dwight, you know how it works. Now with the second part of it, deal 500 bleed damage for 2 turns to up to 2 enemies. This works the same way as 6-star 5-star token Shiva, basically. The normal early Shiva from the 6-star era, where if you kill somebody, that bleed is going to go onto 2 extra enemies. If you don't kill the character, one of the bleed stacks will go onto that character, and then the other one will go onto another character. So the same way the confuse, if you kill the character, she will confuse 2 other characters. If you don't kill the character, it will confuse that character and 1 other. So it works exactly the same way. Now 76 AP, it's not too slow, but mainly I think this will be an attacking character, mainly because of the rest of the things within the kit. And we're going to look at the new specialist skill, which is Lacerator, and I guess you would say it would be to lacerate. Yes, that makes sense in my head. Anyway, whenever this character attacks a character suffering from bleeding, the damage of that bleeding effect is doubled. This also works with her weapon, as we'll see looking at her weapon. She does, when attacking, a better chance to cause 400 bleed damage for 3 turns to the enemy. Now the way weapons work with these multi-rushes, if you've got Dwight, again, if you've got double attack, you can do a double attack. You can do 2 separate attacks, but each separate attack can do a double attack, because it can take advantage of tier 3 specials, or just the 3rd slot specials on weapons. And the same thing happens here with Shiva's bleed. When her rush goes off, she can do 2 stacks of that bleed on a character. However, because she has Lacerator, if she does it on the first attack, so for instance she attacks once with her rush and it bleeds, the second attack will guaranteed 100% lacerate that first attack and make it 800 damage bleed. If she gets the bleed off on her weapon again, it will go up to 1200. If you kill that character, then that doesn't make any difference. However, if you don't kill that character, it will then go up to 1700 bleed damage because of the adrenaline rush. Now, this is quite a high variance. It's gonna, this isn't gonna happen every time, basically. Now we're gonna run some tests. Well, we can look at her stats as well. She's got over 2000 damage, but I don't think really this makes much difference. It's mainly her bleed that is really important. I think if I'm honest, I would prefer her not to have that high damage. Like 1,400, 1,500, and have HP and defense a bit higher so she can stay alive, because her specialist skill and her weapon, and just maybe the bonus from her rush is nice, but her specialist skill and her weapon are the main things about this character. Not so much that she's going to deal loads and loads of damage. You probably, again, like I say, you probably want to actually stack quite defensive things on her weapon just to make sure she stays alive, because the longer she's alive on your team, the better. But we're going to do a test, and I'm going to take a different character to just show you how this character works and the sort of synergy she can have with other characters. Now, if you know Abraham, you know that he has hemorrhage, and Lacerator actually works with hemorrhage. So in terms of wider parts of the game, this new Shiva is going to be really, really good in Faction Assault in combination with a hemorrhage character, because obviously she can double hemorrhage every turn, every single turn, which is going to be insane. So 150 the first time, Lacerator, double it to 300. Second turn it tiers up to 450, double it to 900. Third turn it goes up to 1050, double it to 2100, and then it goes up to 2250, double it to 4500. It just will keep going up. It's going to be really, really, really good. Now, in terms of raiding, there aren't any 6-star Hemorrhage characters just yet, but synergy between Lacerator and Hemorrhage is going to be absolutely insane. Now, I'm not going to try and win this stage. I haven't taken a team to actually win. We're just going to do some tests so you can see. So obviously, when I attack a character, I can bleed, and if it does bleed, it would do the icon, sort of like it has next to Sadiq's character picture, and the same with Ezekiel, and the same with Abraham, because their specialist skills can actually happen. Whereas because there's no bleed currently in the game, or in this attack, Shiva can't lacerate anybody, so there's no highlight. So I'm going to just attack again. But now we have seen that Abraham's Hemorrhage has ticked, and you can see that Shiva's Lacerator has, you know, ticked on to tell you that she can actually lacerate somebody. Now we're not going to do that because Jessie here, actually she'll cleanse her bleed. She'll cleanse her bleed, so I have to finish that because she has a bleed cleanse. That's something to mention. Now hopefully I can get this bleed off. We're not going to get off. Okay, let's try and kill another character. Go through it slowly. Let's get the bleed in. Still no bleed. Still no bleed. Okay, what I'll do is I'll leave that there and we'll tear that up. And I'll take out this character. Or will I? Okay, so now Hemorrhage is tiered up because it's been on for a turn, so it's gone up to 300. If I lacerate that, it will go up to 600. And on and on and on. So he's going to be dead next turn. I know that. I can just leave him. Well, I think he'll actually attack first. I'm not sure. I think bleed happens at the end of their turn. This is a good test. We'll see. I'm pretty sure bleed happens at the end of their turn. Yep, it did indeed. So we know how it works with Hemorrhage. Unfortunately, we don't need Abraham anymore, so let me. But we're going to get through to the next stage. I just want to see how her rush works. And there's something that I want to show you in terms of how her bleed works as well. Against Erica teams, it works very, very well because it works against bonus HP extremely strong. And what we're going to do is we're going to rush. And you can see that it's gone up to 1300. Now the reason it went up to 1300 is because the first attack applied bleed from her weapon. As you can see, it would apply, well, it doesn't tell you there, but it says better chance to cause bleeding when attacking, but it would be 400. The second attack in the rush doubled that to 800, but the second attack didn't apply bleed, so we didn't get the extra 400 from the second attack. However, because of the rush, you get an extra 500. Okay, so we're going to leave her because what we're going to do is we're going to, I'm going to actually stun a couple of characters just so I don't get killed. There we go. We're going to try and double that, but I don't think we will. No, we won't. She's dead. Okay. Doesn't matter too much. There is something else I want to show you. How this works. We'll do it on the next stage. Would be easier with a rush. Actually, there we go. We'll just do it now. As you can see, right now I can lacerate his attack. Okay. I won't kill him with this laceration. This is something to mention just because if you've got multiple, if you pull for this character and you get multiple Shivas, this doesn't work. Okay, you attack once, as you can see, I did apply my on attack bleed, and then it lacerated. Okay, it actually did it the other way round. I think it lacerated first, then it did it on attack. That's a shame, but I think that's just to stop you, because if it did on attack first and then lacerated, it wouldn't be a 400, it would be an 800 every time. So I guess that makes sense. So it's up to 1200. Now you notice that the laceration icon on Shiva isn't on because I've already lacerated this character once. So if you have multiple Shivas, you cannot lacerate this character again. It works the same way this Ezekiel does. If I get a crit and I get two Guardians, if I've got another Guardian 2, his Guardian 2 icon will disappear. Because you can only get one Guardian 2 like proc every turn, and you can only do one laceration per character every turn. You can lacerate every single character. So let's say that Ares had a bleed as well. I could have commanded Shiva to lacerate that as well if I really wanted to. I'm not sure when that would be really important. I guess you'd have to calculate it, work out if you could kill them with it and then not attack, and then you could defend off or something like that. But basically, That's something to mention. You can't have multiple Shivas lacerate the same character. So like, I can attack with, like, let's say I had 5. I can come up against one character, attack, get 400 damage on it with my bleed, have another Shiva. Then I could lacerate with the second Shiva, but a third Shiva wouldn't lacerate again. I think the most that could happen is I could stack the 400 bleed on top. That's the most that could happen. But I can't lacerate more than once per character. And you can only obviously lacerate a character that is already bleeding. Hopefully this isn't too confusing. I'll try and make a diagram. I'll put it on the screen right now. So basically is you can make hemorrhage double. You can only lacerate one character per turn who is already bleeding. You can have multiple Shivas, but you cannot use the lacerate special of both the Shivas on the same character. If you attack, say the first turn, and you attack with the first Shiva who applies bleed, the second Shiva could theoretically lacerate that attack, but the next turn they couldn't both lacerate. So you can only have one laceration per enemy per turn. So if you came up against, let's say in Faction Assault, and you had multiple Shivas, only one of them Shivas is really going to take sort of advantage of laceration on Negan. However, if you have the parts up, you could potentially just stack laceration on both of them consistently. But I think this is really good, mainly because I think bleed was really underpowered. There was almost no need to have combat mods to resist bleed. People may even contemplate that now, you know. And I think this won't be the only lacerator. I hope this becomes a little bit more common. I hope there's more of I hope some of these specialist skills become free to play as well. So, you know, a lot of free to play people get to mess around with them. You know, the Berserker as well, Lacerator. They used to make it so that characters would be released. We have got a lot of characters being released within the 6-star, you know, Ascendance list effectively in terms of the OG characters. So hopefully Lacerator gets in on one of those characters. I'm not sure who it could go in for. Same with Berserker. You know, what do you think of Shiva? I mean, she looks awesome. You can see her. I mean, Abraham has thankfully, you know, been eliminated, so we can actually fully see Shiva on the map. She has got Guardian 2 Shield on right now, but I have had complaints in the past about Guardian 2 Shield. But you can see her and how she looks. I think she's going to be a very good attacking character. I wouldn't change her weapon if I was going to use her primarily on attack. However, on defense, I think she would become quite an easy target because she's got no on defense. Obviously, she even with combat mods, you still need some sort of on defense threat. Yellows obviously have one of the strongest on defense in the combat mod era because absolute defense cannot be countered. So would it be worth putting absolute defense on her? I'm not really sure. I'm not sure. I'd have, if I was to pull for her and I was to get her, I'd have to massively test out how important that weapon bleed was. And I think it would actually be quite important because that's where the majority of your bleed is going to come from. However, what you could do is you could put absolute defense on her weapon and you could put bleed on her combat mod. So she's got a high gold bleed on her combat mod. And gold bleed is guaranteed, whereas weapon is not. So it's better to have like a non-guarantee on something like absolute defense, in my opinion. So, I mean, she's got options, which is really nice. It is a slight shame, like I already said, that her HP and her defense aren't higher and her attack's not lower because I don't think I need her attack to be, you know, it doesn't affect her bleed. But that's the end of this video, guys. Tell me what you think. I think she's really nice. But as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.